Today, we're going to talk about playing it safe versus going out there and making it happen. And so if you think playing it safe by not making a move, but what if that safety net is actually a noose? Well, playing it safe, like not hiring help, or when is it time to hire your help? Not investing in a system, not calling your tax pro until April. Hello and welcome to the Savvy or Surrender podcast. My name is Stephen Young, and I am your host of the Savvy or Surrender podcast, as well as the owner of Savvy Tax Strategies and Bookkeeping. You can check us out at savvytaxstrategies.com, or if you want to schedule a free discovery call, just simply go to meetwithsavvy.com and choose that discovery call link right at the top and book a time, and be happy to talk to you about your particular circumstances, your business, see how we might be able to help out. Also, this is a YouTube video, so if you are listening to this on a podcast, cool, thank you, I appreciate it. Give me a 5-star review if you feel like you want to be able to help me out to continue to grow, spread the message of helping business owners become savvy rather than surrendering to all of the challenges that we face. But if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, do all those kind of cool things. Apparently it helps. I don't know. I'm just learning this. Hey, let's get going. This episode of the Savvy or Surrender podcast is brought to you by SavvyCEOAlliance.com. I've created a group of people coming together that are looking to be more savvy in their business. So go to SavvyCEOAlliance.com. You can find some different training modules. As I build it up, there's going to be more on profit first principles, tax strategies, marketing strategies. There's going to be monthly workshops. All of it is completely free. All you have to do is go to SavvyCEOAlliance.com and join there in the school community, and we will see you there. When was the last time playing it safe actually moved the needle in your business? What does that mean? I'm a car guy, right? Corvette C8, one of my favorite cars. I don't own it yet, but I will here soon because this podcast is going to blow up and I'm going to make lots of money. I don't know, but that's my dream car. And that car probably would not work on because it's got the electronic e-brake. But if you think about the old cars, right? Like my truck has one of the older one of the older emergency brakes. Get to the point, Stephen. The point is, if you have a handbrake or you have one of those push pedal brakes, and you think about you can still drive the car, right? You can still go down the road and it'll still work. But you're slowly killing the car. You're killing the brakes. It's going to go badly for you eventually. That's kind of like what it is when you play it safe in your business. Now, you might be thinking that you're being smart, right? And there is a difference between playing it smart and playing it safe. And so if you think about some of the surrender behaviors, this is a Savvy or Surrender podcast, and we never surrender. But some of these behaviors might feel like you are surrendering and you don't even know it. So one of the perfect examples, and maybe this is a little self-serving, but waiting until tax season to do bookkeeping. We get a lot of people coming in January, February, at least they're coming in the beginning of the year, but they have not done their bookkeeping in the last year, maybe even longer than that. But at least for the last year, like they just simply did not look at their books. That is a surrender move. Not knowing where your financials are, not keeping your bookkeeping up to date. That is a 100% surrender move and can get you in a lot of trouble. Not to mention, you're not optimizing anything. You're going to miss deductions. Just nothing comes good about holding off doing your bookkeeping because you're too busy. Hire somebody. It's not that expensive, and you will that weight will come off of your shoulders, and you will actually find that you will progress in business faster. But anyways, we're going to get into that part too. Stashing cash in your personal accounts with no plan. If you're co-mingling funds, of course, that is really bad. If you're just simply buying personal expenses on your business account, business expenses in your personal account, and you're co-mingling things, that's bad. But also, I get clients that will say, well, I'm putting money in my personal account for taxes. At least you're saving for the taxes, and that could be good. But what if you're saving too much or not enough? And now you have this money that you could have put somewhere else. You could have put it into marketing or something like that. You don't even know. So the point is having an idea, having a plan. Avoiding payroll because it feels complicated. If you're doing things like just paying people over Venmo or under the table or anything like that to try to skirt the rules because you don't understand how to handle it, that is another surrender move. Ignoring quarterly tax payments. I get a lot of business owners. Sometimes it's the first year and that one may not be as big of a deal. But if you've been in business for a while and you're not making your quarterly tax payments, that is definitely a surrender move that's going to catch up to you. You got penalties and interest, but also you can get into a lot of trouble ultimately. And if you keep getting behind and then all you're doing is making payments to the IRS, and so now you're paying more interest, plus you've got those taxes for that year that you're supposed to be paying, it gets ugly, and I have seen it get ugly. I have or had a hardwood flooring client who was doing pretty well, over $300,000 in sales. They were making money. The sales wasn't the issue. It was the organization. Wasn't making his quarterly payments, and then he got so far behind that he stopped making his trust payments, meaning his payroll tax payments. And that's when the IRS really starts cracking down. And eventually he got so far behind that even though the business was working, he had to file bankruptcy and close the business because he didn't have an organization system for simply paying his taxes. My goal here with this podcast is to help you go from chaos to clarity. And that's one of the areas that we can really help with, is simply understanding how much you should be paying and when you should be paying it. Speaking of, today is the time I'm recording this is August 25th. Your next quarterly payment is due September 15th. So if you're listening to this podcast after that, find out when your next quarterly payment is. But the quarterly payments for the IRS don't follow the standard quarter system. So just so you know, you might want to check that out. Okay, what else is a surrender behavior? Saying, I'll do it when I have time. I'll do it when I have time. Let me ask you, as a business owner, when was the last time you felt like you had time? Probably been a long while, right? I don't know when I've ever simply said, oh, I've got time. I'll finally get to that. Put it on a calendar, task it, to-do list, whatever it might be. If we're talking about bookkeeping, you're never going to have time because you're going to open up QuickBooks. If you've got an existing subscription, you're going to open it up and you're going to say, oh my gosh, look at all those transactions. I am never going to be able to get this done. And then you're just going to go on to something else. You're going to get distracted. Next thing you know, you're going to be on Facebook. You're going to be doing something else. And then the last one here that I have for you, staying as a sole proprietor because you are afraid of the S Corp paperwork or getting an LLC, or you just simply don't know what to do, or maybe you don't even know what an S Corp is, and that's okay. A lot of people don't know what an S Corp is if you don't live in the business world and understand entities. You may not have ever heard of an S Corp, so we're going to talk about that and explain what that is. So these may feel safe because they're familiar to you, but they're bleeding you dry slowly. It's like a slow burn, and it's just coming out. And we want to fix that. We want to save you from some of those behaviors. So what are some savvy moves? Let's flip the script and look what savvy looks like. Allocating funds weekly with profit first, and even when the income is tight. Now, what is profit first? Let's talk about that for a brief second. Next week's podcast is going to be specifically on profit first. It is a book written by an author, Mike Michalowicz. You can find it on Amazon. I think it's like $10-11, something like that on Amazon. Again, just search Profit First. And if you go into Amazon or wherever you want to buy your books, it should be available there. But Profit First is a book written about 12 years ago. It is a method of accounting for business owners that helps them to understand where their money goes and to become more profitable. As the title says, profit first, right? But the idea really is making sure that business owners pay themselves a fair wage, make a profit, and then not only that, but manage their expenses in a better way, because we have what's called bank balance bookkeeping, where we see how much money is in our account and our expenses expand to fill that whole amount. It's called Parkinson's law. And again, next week I'm going to get into a whole thing about what Profit First is. But if you haven't heard about it, you can go to my website at savvytaxstrategies.com. And if you want to you can go to savvytaxstrategies.com/profit-first. But the easy way, just go to savvytaxstrategies.com, click on the Profit First link. You'll see there's a quiz there that you can take to find out how your business is doing with Profit First principles and see what it is, what changes you might need to make. All right. And I give you the core chapters of the book for free after you've taken the quiz. Hiring a bookkeeper before you feel ready. Now, I get clients that will come in and they will say, or they'll ask me how much my services are, and I feel I'm pretty reasonable, especially compared to some of the business or some of the preparation firms and the bookkeeping firms out there, which is the reason why I started the business. I want to help business owners that aren't necessarily doing 1 million, 2 million already. I'll help you guys as well. I'm not going to turn your money away. But the reason I started the bookkeeping portion of Savvy Tax Strategies and Bookkeeping was because of business owners that are still at the 150, 200,000 level that are trying to figure out how to make it work. So I've kept my minimums low to be able to help you out. So if you're feeling like you're not quite ready, you're not sure where the money's going to come from, I can help you. I can help you find where that money's going to come from. And you will find that by having organized books and financials and knowing what your business is actually doing, you not only will be able to afford my services, but you're going to be able to be more profitable as a business owner as well. Setting up an S Corp. Now, remember, we're still talking about savvy moves here. These are the savvy moves. Setting up an S Corp and paying yourself properly to save thousands of dollars. If you are netting about $50,000 a year, that's the area that I like to play in. So if you are netting $50,000 in a year, I want you to become an S Corp if it makes sense. There's other things, right? You want to talk to your professional or give me a call. We can see if it makes sense for you. But that's about the area, because there are some additional things that you need to do. You have to get on payroll. You have an extra tax return due now, March 15th, as we talked about. So as you have those things come up now, we want to make sure that you take advantage of them, that you are able to be an S Corp. You're able to save the way that the structures work. One, you have less chance of being audited. Two, there's other things that you're able to deduct. And then three, as it comes into your personal return, you're able to save money on the FICA taxes, on the Social Security, Medicare. So there's that self-employment tax you've probably heard of as a business owner or wannabe business owner. If you're not currently, that's okay. If you're not a business owner, this is a great podcast to learn the things that you need to do to become a business owner. So welcome. I appreciate you listening. Once you become an S Corp, you don't have to pay the 15.3% for the self-employment tax on all of your wages. You structure it a little bit differently, and you can save a lot of money by doing it that way. Meeting quarterly with a tax strategist, not just a tax preparer. So a CPA, anybody else that's just a tax professional, that they do tax returns, you meet with them, in February, March, April. You do an extension, you meet with them September, October, whatever it is. If you're only meeting with them once a year to prepare your taxes from the prior year, you're not doing any strategy work. You're simply doing the compliance piece. You're hoping that they're putting the right numbers in the right boxes, and that's really all they're doing at that point. They're simply reporting. A tax strategist, which I am a certified tax advisor with Main Street Tax Pros, we look in the future. We want to be proactive. I put together an entire blueprint for you that shows you exactly what strategies you should be using and how much money that's going to save you in your taxes. So if that's something that is of interest to you, of course, check out meetwithsavvy.com. Investing in tools and systems that automate your money flow. So if you have like the Profit First app that will help you show you how to allocate your money into the different categories of what you need to spend. Think of Dave Ramsey made this famous, but think of the envelope system for your money and for your income that is coming in. Right, you get your check, you cash it out, and you put it in all the envelopes. Maybe your grandma did this, maybe you did this at one point. Dave Ramsey talks about it a lot. Because it helps discipline your spending, right? If I've got $200 in going out to eat and I'm at the end of the month and there's no more money in that envelope, I guess I'm eating hot dogs and mac and cheese or something because I don't get to go out anymore because there's no more money in that envelope. That's kind of how we look at it with a business, and we put it into a system, again, moving you from chaos to clarity. You know exactly how much money you have in those accounts for those specific items. And then treating your business like a business, not a hobby. I can't tell you how many times I talk to business owners and they're not treating their business like a true business. They're commingling funds. They're just moving things around. Now, hey, if your business is a hobby, cool, good for you. It's not really a business then, and you shouldn't be writing it off and you shouldn't be doing any of that stuff. And the IRS will catch up to you. That's called a hobby business, and they don't like those, and you will get into trouble. So if you're simply starting a business because you want to be able to write things off, that is the wrong reason, and that's not who I'm talking to here. I am talking to business owners that want to be not only legitimate, but treat your business like a business, understanding what it is. If you are a plumber and you're a really good plumber and you think, you know what, I'm tired of working for somebody else, I want to start my own business, those are the people I want to help. Those are the people that I'm talking to right now that want to be a better business owner. And you just simply don't know the rules. You don't know the tools. You don't know what's out there to be able to help you do that. You're a fantastic plumber, but maybe you're not a great business owner because you've never learned how to do those things. That's okay. That's where I come in. That's how we help you. And what are the real costs? The real costs of playing it safe. You could lose $5,000 or more a year simply by not becoming an S Corp when you're ready. You could lose, I don't know, I've seen over $10,000 in lost deductions from expenses that did not get added into the business because they did not have their bookkeeping organized. They had receipts everywhere. They paid cash for materials that they forgot about. All those different things that add up over the year. And if you don't have a system to be able to manage those, how are you going to be able to deduct them and put them in your tax return? Not only are you going to miss the deductions, but then you don't have a true sense of your financials. You don't know if you're profitable or not. You don't know what your gross profit margin is or any of those things. So you don't even know truly what your business is doing if you're not tracking it correctly. Even outside of the dollar amount, think about the burnout from wearing 6 hats in your business, right? I joke with clients that I say, you're the CEO, the chief everything officer. And hey, I've been there. When you're first starting the business, that's what you got to do, right? You are the only employee. I get it. I've done it. I've been where I've done everything. It sucks. It's hard. It's stressful. You have this like weight on you, especially as your business is starting to grow and you feel like, how am I ever going to get all of this done? And you're working 16, 18 hours a day. And the last thing you want to do is bookkeeping. And the last thing you want to do is think about tax strategies and meeting with your CPA or your EA or your tax professional, because you're just trying to make ends meet and get everything done every day. I totally understand that, which is why bookkeeping, and this might be self-serving, but bookkeeping should be your first thing that you offload. Unless you are already a financial pro and you understand bookkeeping and you have that organized already, get rid of it. Unload it. Let somebody else do that so that you can manage your business and be focused on the marketing and the sales and the implementing and the service and all those things that you have to do as well. Don't worry about the books. Let somebody else do that. And then lost credibility is when vendors and clients see chaos. We all know that guy, right? We all know that guy that comes in and you can just tell. You look at their truck and they've got receipts everywhere. They've got invoices everywhere. They have no idea what's going on. They don't know what day it is. And they come in on the job site and they are just a mess. And I'm not even talking about their personal life or anything like that, but their business life is just chaos, right? And those are usually the ones that are out of business within a couple of years. Or they never go over $100,000. They never make more than six figures because they don't know how to change that chaos and get into that clarity moment. And they're just a hot mess. We can help that. And learning some of these things, going to savvyceoalliance.com and learning some of those skills is really why we're here. And this is we don't want you to surrender. We want you to be savvy. We want you to be successful as a business owner. And that's what we're trying to do here. Inaction is often more expensive than the wrong action. Taking some kind of a step, at least moving forward, buying a book, buying Profit First, or question-based selling, or 12-week year. There's so many books that are out there for business owners to be able to help them to move from the chaos to the clarity. But also listening to podcasts like you're doing now, just getting a little bit more educated and implementing some of those steps in your business one by one is what's going to make the difference. Okay, so I have a challenge for you. What's one area where you've been playing it safe? Let's think about that. What would it look like if you were savvy instead of playing it safe? I would love to be able to help you to stop being stuck and to get savvy. The choice is yours. I appreciate you listening to the podcast. Please leave us a 5-star review on where you get your podcast if you feel like I deserve it. If you don't feel like I don't deserve it, then don't give it to me yet. I'm going to continue to work on it to make it better so that you will feel like I deserve it. And also subscribe and like this video on YouTube. Apparently it does something for me, and I appreciate you. Thanks for listening. And don't forget, the next podcast coming out, podcast number 4, is going to be all about Profit First. We're going to dive into it more and why it's more than just a cash flow system. It is a survival kit for your business. Be good, humans.